Hi, ladies, welcome back to my channel. Also, welcome if you're new. I'm not even going to go into, oh, I've been absent, yada, 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 yada. I'm not even going to be doing that. In today's video, I'm just going to be talking to you about some things that I wish I could go back and tell my younger self. I'm currently 28, just to give you an idea of where I am in my life right now. I really hope that this video gets to somebody who is in that transition phase between them leaving high school and going into college, or possibly already in college and they're going to be transitioning into the workforce. I want the video to get to primarily those young women, because I believe that some of the gems that I'm going to share with you can really set you up for an amazing future. Without further ado, I hope y'all are doing okay. Let's get into the video. Please enjoy. So, the transition from like leaving home and going to college, it can be so crazy. Like when I look back and I think about how clueless I was, but how much I thought I knew at that time, I find it laughable. It's honestly amusing. But one of the main things I learned my first year of college, I learned about boundaries and standing up for myself. Let me paint the picture for you. I was fortunate enough to go off to college with friends, and my family and we made the decision that I would be living on campus because it would be more financially, what should I say? It was financially the better decision for my family. One flat rate, we would not need to be worrying about monthly rent. So I moved into my dorms and I happened to live with I made some amazing friends, and I also lived with friends from high school. Now, I remember my room was basically the hangout room. Everybody would be in my room like day in, day out. I'd wake up and by like 9, 10 a.m., my friends would be there. Kiki, kaka. We'd go off to school, come back from our classes, and then we're hanging out in my room. Sometimes when my friends can't make it back to their room, they're sleeping in my room. Okay. I mean, they're sleeping in my room. We're always together. We're having fun. But as the months drained on, I started to realize that I was began to feel a little bit drained, and that there were some times when my emotions would be all over the place, and I just needed a moment to be. I needed a moment to be quiet. But I did not understand that this was overstimulation. I had no idea about overstimulation, boundaries, anything like that. I was such a baby, so naive. I had no idea how to stand up for myself, and I lacked self awareness. I really did. But then I remember it got to a point in the first semester where I would literally come home from classes. Mind you, I'm back on my dorm. But instead of going into my room and relaxing, drawing the curtains, putting on some music, and just laying down and decompressing from the day, I'd find myself running to my room to grab my laptop, and then I'd go to the study area off my door at my hall, and I'd stay in there and I'd just watch YouTube videos, watch daytime talk shows, and I would be in there for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I didn't know that I didn't recognize or I didn't have the language to say that this was my way of decompressing. And this was going on for days, and days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into a couple more months. And I was like, wait a second. I need to have a boundary where I say, can you give me some space? Can I sleep alone in my room tonight? Could you not use this? Could you just I just need some space. There was no need for me to be hiding from my room and from my friends whenever I felt overwhelmed and overstimulated. All I needed to do was open my mouth and say, I love you, but I'm gonna need a couple of hours to relax. It was, it's like a light bulb went off in my mind. And it happened for me before it happened for them. But the way it happened for me, I don't want it to happen for you. Because it happened that a little mini argument occurred between us. We didn't fall out or anything, but it took me getting upset about something very minor. And yes, to them, I overreacted in the moment. But what I was reacting to in that moment was the months of me feeling unseen, unheard, and not appreciated or valued when they were in my space. In my head, I was also upset at myself for not saying, hey, I'm gonna need some space. So, number one thing you need to understand, and it's gonna take you through life, it's boundaries. Boundaries. This happened around 7 years ago. And just yesterday, I was at work and I found myself in a situation where I had to put my foot down and say, listen, I'm going to be looking out for me, and this is my boundary. That is something that when I learned that lesson, I'm telling you, you have to have boundaries for yourself and boundaries with other people. What are you going to allow? And what are you going to allow? What are the things that you're not going to allow? And stick to them. Nobody is going to uphold those boundaries if you don't. So if you value your private time, if you value space for yourself, if you value your things that you have, your home, your car, then you uphold that boundary with yourself first so that it is easier for you to uphold that with other people. I was lax with my boundary with myself, and I just left myself up for everybody. I was just pouring my energy everywhere, and I never recognized that I needed to maintain some of that for myself. And I don't want that to happen to you. So, the biggest thing I'm going to let you know right now, ladies and younger ladies listening to me, I'm still young. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, anyways, understand boundaries. It's going to take you through life. The next thing I want to talk about, I want to talk to you about financial literacy. I am no finance guru. I work in finance right now, but I'm new to it and I did not study finance. I studied international relations. But I believe that everyone has to have basic financial literacy. I have witnessed how not understanding certain concepts and having a certain mindset when it comes on to your money, getting money, and managing the money, keeping the money. I can see how when there is no knowledge about this concept of money and how it works, that we can really get ourselves into major trouble. Listen to me. If you were fortunate enough to grow up in a household where money was not an issue and there were open conversations about money, I am so happy for you. But how I grew up, I saw my mommy, I had a single parent. She was basically just trying to keep it all together. And it was not always easy. There was a lot of borrowing. There was a lot of loans. There was a lot of, Jamaicans would say, borrowing Peter for pay Paul. It was a lot, right? And we never had conversations about budgeting or putting money down for a rainy day, anything like that. However, I observed that there were times when these things were being done because my mom was the type to put money aside for like back to school because she probably couldn't depend on my dad for everything that we may need for the school year. And so she would start to do little jobs here and there. And like, for example, she'd take on a second job or she'd take up an extra shift at work or start working with some program, and the salary from that money was specifically for something. And so I saw principles of her living within her means, her trying to save ahead. These things, I saw them. And while she did not open a book and say, this is a budget, this is about investing, this is about savings, I understood that money was something that you had to take control of because If you did not, it would control you. No. When I got to college, I went on a loan. And my mommy also took out another loan so that I could go overseas and work. And my working was to basically pay for my dorm fees, pay for my school fees, and any little supplies that I would have needed throughout the school year. This includes my books, for example, or my stationery, my clothes that I would wear on campus. You know, when you're on campus, you need clothes for different types of occasions. You need casual clothes, you need clothes for class, you also need clothes for any little event that may pop up, right? I had to work to take care of that type of a thing. She would just take care of making sure that I'm eating monthly and doing what she could. But I recognized that understanding money and learning how to manage it was my responsibility. And so I'm going to tell you now, ladies. I'm going to tell you now. If you take nothing from this video, remember this. Remember boundaries and then remember this. I want you to understand that you need to know what a budget is. And you need to know what a budget is. A budget basically tells your money what it's going to do. In simple terms, that's how I'm going to put it. So this 1,000 is for this. This 10,000 is for that. I'm speaking in Jamaican dollars, by the way. If you're talking in any, yeah, I'm gonna just use Jamaican. I'm sticking to that. That's what I know. But when you put down what your money is for, whether you are working or whether you're gifted money or you have a side job or something and you get money, I need you to write down how much money you want to allocate for your phone bill, how much money you're going to allocate for fun money, how much money you're going to allocate for eating out, how much money you're going to put aside for a rainy day. These things are important. And you need to also understand with money the things that you cannot live without. So if you're just transitioning from college to now you got your first job, or you maybe just moved out of your parents' house, listen, you need to understand you gotta keep your lights on, you need your phone, you need your Wi-Fi, you may need heat, whatever your utilities are, those need to be taken care of. You also need to be saving. And further on, as you're saving, you're investing and paying off debt, whatever you need to do. But I want you to understand that you cannot get to a place where you allow money to control you. No, you need a budget. You need to be saving. And you need to be telling money what to do. When you do that by having a budget. Another thing that is, I think it's pretty, I don't know, it seems like common sense to me. But do not try to keep up with the Joneses. That's what we say here. I hear it's said a lot in the West. We're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? So if you cannot afford something, I was listening to a podcast years ago. And on the podcast, they said, if you can't afford something right now, the question you need to ask yourself is, what can I do to be able to afford the thing? What you can do is, you're either going to get a second job, do some more hours, start a side business, save towards it, something. But we're not going to be living above our means. I see people buying name brand bags and all this little thing, expensive slippers, expensive shoes, expensive bags, doing expensive hairstyles, nails, all these things. It's great to have self-care, but self-care without taking care of your finances is ridiculously wild to me. I will never understand that concept. We don't need a $500 bag. We don't need a $1,000 bag. If you have a $50 bag and there's $1,000 in that bag, you're good. You are good. And if you want me to do some more videos on little things that I've learned about finances, I can do that. As I said, I'm no finance guru, but you need to understand money, the basics of money, because these things are going to take you through life. Another thing that I want to just leave with you in this video, because it's going to get pretty long and I don't want the video to be all over the place. But the last and most important thing I'm going to leave with you in this video, because I don't think I would be where I am, is Jesus, is God. You need to have a relationship with the Lord. I'm not forcing anything down anybody's throat. I'm telling you things that have worked for me. He has been with me. He has carried me. I don't know if I would be here today alive if it was not for Him. In moments where I've felt like I wanted to give up, when I felt that I wasn't worthy, when I felt like I wasn't enough, when I felt like I wasn't beautiful, I wasn't special, I was replaceable, I was nothing. I found my worth in God. It's in God that I got the confidence to even start this channel in the first place, not me getting choked up on YouTube. But anyways, yeah. My most popular video on this channel is titled Move in Silence. And that is the word that the Lord gave to me in January of 2020. That's the word that the Lord gave to me that year. And I went into that year so broken. And we got into the pandemic and I made that video. I had about 4 videos on my channel, and then I posted that video. And that video completely made my channel blow up. My channel blew up. I was getting like 300, 500 subscribers per day. And to be honest with you, I think the reason the Lord allowed that video to blow up and allowed me to get to the 4,000 watch hours and got me to pass the 1,000 subscriber goal is because He knew that I would have given up. He knew I would have given up. But I'm telling you, this life means nothing without a relationship with God. Nothing without a relationship with God. There is nothing that will be able to satisfy you as much as He can. Your soul will always be longing for more. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.